foggy morning here in Nanto. This is actually right outside my Airbnb. You can see the lake down there. I actually originally came to Nanto because it's the location of the show Sakura Quest. And while the fog took away some of those picturesque shots, it actually gave me a bunch of other really cool shots, like this road disappearing into the clouds. Here, though, is where the Kingdom of the Chupacabra, the kind of touristy trap thing in Nanto in the show, was located. There's a building there, but I think it's just a house. But there was another site around the pond that I thought would look really, really cool in the fog. And here it is. It's a small shrine on a peninsula in the middle of the lake. And there's the kind of close up shot of it. And you do feel kind of like you're stepping into like the realm of the gods and that kind of like your name sense of like stepping through the fog on this stone pathway into where the shrine is. Here's where the little shrine is behind another smaller torii gate. There's actually like an animal hole like on this island. I was like very worried that like something would pop up and like attack me as I was walking by. There's a little god's house. And here is the god's view facing out at the torii gate. Just a really cool little shrine. There's also like a boat launching pad. There's someone kayaking nearby. So it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. And there's actually like a small restaurant like next door. But in the fog, it made it seem really empty. This is traveling to other sites, trying to see some more places from the show Sakura Quest. And here's a poster for the show Sakura Quest. It's directly in front of this place called Cafe Train, which is actually one of the locations in the show and has a display up usually, but is under renovations till June, so I couldn't see it. And it is right next door to PA Works, the anime studio that made not only Sakura Quest, but Shirobako, Skip and Loafer, your boy Kong Ming, a lot of my favorite anime. As I was walking, there was like people walking in towards work, and as I was passing, I was like, "Oh my god, they're going to work at PA Work! That's wild!" But I also didn't want to stick around in case they got mad at me for hanging around a workplace. This is Johanna Station. It's the only station in town and also features prominently in the show Sakura Quest. Also importantly, it's where the tourism bureau is housed in the town. In Sakura Quest, the main character works for the tourism bureau. I didn't want to get a video because people were like actively working in there. But they also had this picture of the guy in the chupacabra suit from the show. I think it'd be really funny, someone who doesn't know the show, to see that just hanging around. This is near the shopping street in town, also features in the show, which is why I wanted to go. But also just a really neat place. An old woman came up and gave me this kind of like, it's like a big cheese curl. Also like rubbed my belly and my beard. I loved this wood-carved bear with a camera out in front of like a photo studio. The reason it's actually famous for wood carving, per Sakura Quest. But I just kind of wanted to like walk up and down the street. There was one place I wanted to see, which is a bat museum, which was closed. But I did stop in a store and got like a small little trinket from the store next door. Driving away, I got really caught up in like pulling off to the side and getting just shots of the scenery, which I think are just kind of, even in the fog, just like beautiful and mystical in their own way. Here's me coming up to a tunnel where you can actually, I didn't get a video of it, but you can see like the fog pouring over the clouds. It really felt otherworldly. It felt a lot like the show like Mushishi would feel. This is on the other side of the tunnel. There was a small rest stop and just view of the landscape. You can see the fog kind of clears on the other side of the mountain. This is also bear territory. So while I was here go to the bathroom, I was just like clapping my hands to try and scare the bears away. That is the town I'm headed towards, and it is Gokayama. This is the Ainokura Gassho-zukuri village, which features a lot of Gassho-zukuri houses. So like a Gassho house is the one with like the half roof. Zukuri houses have these kind of like thatched grass roofs that helps keeps the snow out. They have to replace every 20 to 30 years. But this and Shirakawa, which is a bit more famous, are both UNESCO World Heritage Sites, as they still keep these houses in the same tradition as they were 300, 400 years ago. You can see kind of a panoramic of all the houses. Most of these are actually still like lived in houses. You'd see people next to the houses like farming their rice paddies or doing their stuff. Some of them are more tourist destinations, or just like, I think one of them was like an inn. But most of these people just like live in these houses and keep up the tradition that they've had for hundreds of years. It's a nice big one. I think this is one of the more touristy ones. There was a shrine nearby. I didn't go up to it. because I was kind of in a rush, and there were more tourists here than other places. There was also this big overlook, but it was really far away, and my feet aren't that good yet. But it's one place I want to stop at instead of stopping at the more kind of crowded Chiricahua. This is further down the road. I just wanted to stop and get a view of the mountains, but also they had this really cool shrine. Walking up here, this is where is the name again? Kaminashi Shrine. It's just down the road a little bit, and I actually hadn't been to like a full shrine visit yet in Japan, where I, ring the bell and throw a 5 yen coin. So this seemed like the perfect time to do it. Also, I love these dog guardian statues. They were pretty cool. This is kind of the god's view again of seeing the trees and the sweeping vista of what the shrine sees out at. You can also see here, as I try and walk up the side of the pathway, the clouds, again, kind of like coming over the mountains just under the shrine gate. This is the Gassho-zukuri Bridge. It's about halfway between Gokayama and Toyama and Shirakawa in Gifu. And another one where it's just like, these are pretty stunning views. I just love the design of the bridge too, kind of in the distance. For some reason, the water also really struck me of how green it was. I also can't remember if I brought this up, that there wasn't a word in Japanese for green, or it wasn't widely used until like after World War II. They usually use the word for blue to say green, specifically for vegetation like this. It's just wild to me that they didn't have like a specific widely used word for it. This is a site called Monet's Pond. It's just a little pond made up to look like a Monet painting, or a pond in a Monet painting. It did a pretty good job. I think the fog or the cloud cover isn't doing it tons of favors. It is also filled with tons of carp. Here you see one of them swimming on by. There's also a gold one, a shiny carp here, which was pretty cool. There was a big shrine too, but it was upstairs and I didn't want to go. There was also this little Shiba pupper, and it is quite small. I think it's only probably like a year or two old. Its owner was right nearby. They just wanted to take some pictures. The town it was in, it was pretty small, a no streetlight town. You did get these kind of amazing views. There was this summertime rendering gacha. The show is like a few years old. I want to know how long this gacha's been there. Also in the public restroom, you can see their little heads popping up. There was a bird's nest. Like I saw a mama bird flying in and out. I was like, what is going on here? Until I heard the cheeps. More sweeping vistas. It's a nice little tourist town, hidden in the mountains of Gifu. This is the Chusatsu Bridge back in Gifu. Here's a closer view of it. This features prominently in the show Shoshimin, How to Be Ordinary, and this kind of like stretch of river. So I wanted to see it while my feet were doing better and I could actually walk around in Gifu, try and get some of the sights, even though I didn't get to see as much of Gifu as I wanted to. Other things from the show are the old TV tower that I kind of love too much. There is also this Shotengai that pops up a lot. Not only do they go to it, but it's used as like a visual metaphor. So a lot of the shops are closed. Even though it's early morning, I got to see the shops as I hoped I'd see them, as being kind of closed. Also, they had a Shoshimin display in the train station. I didn't see it the first time I went through, but there's a crossover event with them and JR. No regular outro, just one last shot of the shrine in Toyama. I just love this shot. Tune in next time when I go to Toyohashi. Bye!